The Marvin Braude Bike Trail is a paved bicycle path that runs along the Pacific Ocean shoreline in Los Angeles County, California. I'm starting this video above the beginning of the bike path in Torrance, and I'll ride north along the full length of the path to Will Rogers State Beach near Pacific Palisades. The ride one way is 22 miles. Here I am in the parking lot above Torrance Beach. By the way, this is a good place to park if you're thinking of driving to the beginning of the path. I'm going to fast forward through a lot of the video to keep it down to a reasonable size, but I'll slow some parts down to include some commentary on points of interest. From the start of the path, we head towards Redondo Beach and the Redondo Beach Pier. This part of the path is one of my favorites because it runs very close to the ocean. The bike I'm riding is called a Juice Cross Current 10 electric bike. I'll put a link to Juice bikes in the comment section below the video. This bike is very heavy and I mostly ride it with the electric motor off for exercise. This bike has a throttle as well as a pedal assist function. And here we are approaching the Redondo Beach Pier. You're required to walk your bike when crossing the entrance to the pier, and don't be tempted to ride through here. I've seen people being ticketed for riding their bikes through the no riding zone. You can remount after a short walk and ride on a designated bike path through the pier's parking garage. There's some restaurants and places to get snacks and drinks here, but I don't recommend it because it's so close to the start of the ride. The Redondo Beach Pier started out as a disjointed group of wharves between 1889 and 1903, constructed to service freight activity when Redondo Beach was competing against the San Pedro Harbor for dominance. After losing out to San Pedro, the pier turned into an interconnected structure after a series of storms and redevelopments. The pier area used to be heavily crowded with tourists and locals during the 1970s and 80s, but it began to decline after that. Today there are a few remaining restaurants, but this whole area continues to be in need of a major redevelopment. After the Redondo Beach Pier parking lot, the bike path is on the street, but separated from it with this green bike lane. There are even designated stoplights just for bikes. This path was put in several years ago, before you would have to compete with cars whizzing by you on busy weekends. This is the transition from the Redondo Beach Bike Path to the Hermosa Beach Bike Path. Through Hermosa Beach, you share the path with pedestrians. Hermosa Beach has some restrictions on bikes. The first is the bike speed limit is 8 miles per hour. The second is that motorized bikes and skateboards aren't allowed, unless they're ridden with the power off. That said, not many people pay attention to the rules, which can lead to some hectic situations during crowded weekends. This is the Pier Avenue walk street in Hermosa Beach. It's still very early in this long ride, but if you want to get something to eat or drink, get it here. The next convenient stop is miles away in Marina del Rey. This is the entrance to the Hermosa Beach Pier, featured in the 2016 movie La La Land. This isn't marked on the path, but I'm turning up this short sidewalk to join the street path. You can continue down on the Strand Path, but you'll have to walk your bike up some steps on the border of Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach. In Manhattan Beach, the bike path becomes separated from the pedestrian walkway that's called the Strand. We're now approaching the Manhattan Beach Pier. Built in 1920, it's a state historic landmark and the oldest concrete pier on the West Coast. You probably noticed that the view of the pier went from people walking on it to almost no one on it. It's because I filmed this next portion about a week later, and I started at the pier at about 9 a.m. This is the transition from Manhattan Beach to El Segundo. A power plant is on the right. This is another portion of the path that runs very close to the ocean. LAX, the Los Angeles airport, is on the right. This beach is very popular during the summer, so be careful of people crossing the bike path without looking. Here we are coming into Playa del Rey. This is the bridge over Ballona Creek. They've had sewer construction here forever, and it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. After crossing the bridge, we're on the path between Ballona Creek and the Marina del Rey Channel. The bike path was blocked for a few minutes because of a movie being filmed. Hey, this is Hollywood after all. From here, the bike path goes completely around Marina del Rey before getting close to the ocean again at Venice Beach. Marina del Rey is North America's largest man-made small craft harbor and is home to approximately 5,000 boats. This is where the bike path crosses Admiralty Way in Marina del Rey. From here, the bike path runs down West Washington Boulevard to Venice Beach. There are lots of places to get something to eat or drink on this street. Just make sure that you lock your bike before going into a restaurant or coffee shop. This is the beginning of the bike path in Venice Beach. The path runs close to the Venice boardwalk, and you might want to dismount and walk on the boardwalk if you haven't been here before. This is the start of the path in Santa Monica. The path here is much better than the path in Venice. Also, Santa Monica is upgrading the path, making it much wider and safer. Here we are coming up on the Santa Monica Pier. The path runs under the pier, but on this ride some construction was going on and a detour was set up. There's been a pier here since around 1875. This version of the pier has a carousel that dates back to 1920. After the pier, the path continues north and ends at Will Rogers State Beach. And here we are at the end of the path, or the beginning of the path if you're planning to start here and ride south. The marker here is the monument to Will Rogers. Thanks for watching this long video. I hope you found it helpful. I have my own YouTube channel with videos mostly of my travels. So please press your thumbs up like button and please consider subscribing. Thanks and have a great ride.